Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about intercepts. Okay, and intercepts is basically just where a line intersects the x-axis and where the line intersects the y-axis. Okay, so a few terms that you need to know. Okay, the y-intercept is where the graph intersects y-axis. Okay, where the graph intersects the y-axis. Remember, the y-axis is up and down. Okay, the x-intercept, where the graph intersects the x-axis. And remember, your x-axis is left and right, or horizontal. Okay, so you need to know these two vocabulary words. Very important to know these. Okay, so let's look at this this graph here. Okay, you're given a straight line or a linear graph, and we want to go ahead and find the x-intercept and the y-intercept. Okay, so let's start with y. Okay, it's the graph intersects the y-axis. Hey, what point does it intersect it at? We know the the y-axis is the vertical one. Okay, well, what point does it intersect it at? Well, at 0, 1. Okay, so it intersects at 0, 1. So the y-intercept is the y value of that ordered pair. So the y value is the second part. Okay, so the y-intercept is going to be 1. Okay, so it's not the ordered pair, it's the actual y value of that ordered pair. Okay, so the graph intersects the x-axis at what ordered pair? Okay, so you know the x-axis is horizontal. Well, where does it intersect at? Well, at -2, 0. Okay, so the x-intercept is going to be the x value of that ordered pair, so -2. Okay, so your intercepts are always going to be numbers. They're not going to be ordered pairs. Okay, let's try another example. Okay, so this time you got a different graph, and we know the graph intersects the y-axis at 0, 3. And remember, your y-axis is this, so this point would be 0, 3. And so the y-intercept would be what? Well, it's the location where the line crosses, and it's the y coordinate, or the y number of that coordinate. So it's going to be 3. Okay, so your y-intercept of that line is 3. Okay, your x-intercept, remember right where your x crosses, so right here, the graph intersects the x-axis, at -2, 0. Okay, so the x-intercept, of course, is going to be the x value of that number, or -2. Okay, so this is going to be used all the time for the rest of this unit, so you have to be comfortable with x and y intercepts. All right. Okay, I want you with a partner to go ahead and try this example. Okay, so go ahead, take a second, try this example. Okay, your solutions: the graph intersects the x-axis at 2, 0. The x-intercept is 2. The graph intersects the y-axis at 0, -4. So your y-intercept is -4. Okay, this time with your partner that you're working with, I want one of you to work on the x-axis stuff. One of you to work on the x-axis stuff and the other to work on the y-axis stuff. Okay, so once we come back together, you have the graph intersects the x-axis at 5, 0. So your x-intercept is 5. And your y-intercept is 0, -5. So your y-intercept is -5. Okay, so hopefully you have a good understanding on how to find x and y intercepts from a graph. Okay, so make sure you have all this down. Very important information to us. All right. Okay, so finding intercepts from a table of values. Okay, this is going to be another important skill. Now, when you guys were filling out all of your different y-intercepts on the previous page, what did they all have in common? Okay, well, you had all these different ordered pairs. You had 0, 1, you had 0, 3, 0, -4, and 0, -5. Okay, so look at all those. What's the thing in common? Well, duh, it's the 0 and all the x coordinate of that ordered pair. So what do they have in common? The x coordinate is 0. Okay, so when you have a y-intercept, your x coordinate is always 0. Okay, so what do all x-intercepts have in common? Well, if you look at the previous page and all the different x-intercepts that you had the ordered pair -2, 0, -2, 0, 2, 0, and 5, 0. Hey, what did these have in common? Hey, well, you look, all the different y values are 0. Okay, so to have an x-intercept, you must have the y-coordinate. Is 0. Okay, so to have an x-intercept, your y-coordinate must be 0. Okay? So let's try a few. Go ahead and fill in these different values. Okay, so we have 0, 5, and 10 on your x side, and -8, -4, and 0 on your y side. And we want to go ahead and identify what's the y-intercept and what the x-intercept is. Okay, so without even graphing, we can say the graph intersects the y-axis at, or the y-axis here. Okay, the graph intersects the y-axis at 0, -8. We know that because to have a y-intercept, you have to have an x value that is 0. Okay, so since we know that the intercept is at 0, -8, the y-intercept of course, is your y value of that coordinate, so it's -8. Okay, so the graph intersects the x-axis at the one that has a y value of 0. Okay, so the x-axis or the x-intercept will be the one that has a y value of 0. So that ordered pair, of course, is 10, 0. So the x-intercept is going to be the x value of that ordered pair, or 10. Okay, so it's the same thing. You just have to know that x-intercepts have a y value of 0 and y-intercepts have an x value of 0. Okay, so let's try another one real quick like. And I would like you to do this example. -7, 0, 7, and -1, 0, 1. Okay, so this one, let's do our y-axis like we have been doing. Okay, so our y-axis, we want to look for a y-intercept, so we're looking for an x value of 0. Well, check it out. There's an x value of 0, so we know that our ordered pair is 0, 0. So the y-intercept is going to be your y value of that ordered pair, so 0. Okay, almost done here. Okay, the graph intersects the x-axis at, well, we want to find one with a y value of 0. Okay, so there's a y value of 0. So once again, it intersects the x-axis at 0, 0. So the x-intercept is going to be the x value of that ordered pair. So we know that our x-intercept is also 0. So this time it happens to be that the x-intercept and the y-intercept both are at 0. Okay, so that can happen. Okay, if you wanted to, you could actually go back and graph these and see if it actually works out. So let's graph them. Okay, so in this one, we got the ordered pair 0, -8. We have 5, -4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, -4, and 10, 0. Okay, and you can see that in fact, you do have intercepts, a y-intercept at -8, and you have a x-intercept over here at 10. So it does work out. Table to graph ends up being the same thing. Okay, and you can do the same exact thing with your table over here. Okay, it will end up giving you a y-intercept and an x-intercept at 0. Okay, so let's go ahead and try one on your own real quick. Okay, I want you to do this problem here. I want you to do -6, 0, 6, and 0, 2, 4. So go ahead and graph those points and identify your x-intercept and your y-intercept. Okay, so you only need to do that one. Have a good one. See ya. Bye.